Hey, this is just another 80s Geek, and you are watching another episode of the Geek Showcase, where we showcase, show off, and highlight all things geeky. And today, we are going to be doing a live unwrapping, unboxing, so to speak. It's not a brand new toy, it's a retro toy, but this is the only way you can do this these days, it seems like. So I have ordered some retro toys. As you've seen in past videos, we've already opened quite a bit of things, ranging from He-Man to Centurions to Blackstar to Dino Riders and Voltron. And I have one package left from that batch, and that would be this package right here. So we are going to be opening this package up and seeing what retro toy we have in here and what kind of shape it is, what kind of condition it is. So let's, without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's bust this bad boy open and see what we have. Alright, so if you open this up, we have this that comes right off of there. It leaves us with this box. Alright, I've already cut the box open there, so let's pull this guy out, see if there's anything else in the box. Nope. Alright, so we have a fairly large figure, alright, because my hands are at both ends of this guy, which means I know what it is. So let's unwrap this guy and crazy wrap. Oh, this one's going to be one of those hard ones because of how tall this figure is on this camera. Oh my, they wrapped the crap out of this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Marshall Bravestarr of the cartoon series of the same name, Bravestarr. So, oh my goodness, look at the size of that guy. Just to give you a reference here, I mean, that is my hand. So he is a very tall figure. This is like bigger than the He-Man figures, actually. You probably remember from, if you were a fan or a subscriber way back when I did the big Motu box opening, we had his counterpart, which was Tex Hex, also just as big. So let me tell you why I have this guy. Let me tell you who he is and all about him. So, as you've seen in the other videos I've done, I have a heroes and villains collection going on where I'm collecting the #1 hero and the #1 villain from as many 80s cartoons as I can or as I see fit. We're talking about Optimus Prime and Megatron, we're talking about He-Man, Skeletor, things of that nature. So I've already unboxed Tex Hex in one of the earlier videos, so now I have his counterpart, Bravestarr. So that would be Bravestarr and Tex Hex, the main hero and the main villain from the cartoon series Bravestarr, which aired in 1987. Is when Bravestarr was out as a cartoon. These toys, however, came out a little bit earlier. So the toy line, which was made by Mattel, came out in 1986, a full year ahead of the cartoon series. This is one reason why the toy line, in my opinion, didn't sell very well, because these toys were on the shelves for a whole year without a cartoon counterpart, etc., etc. So then the cartoon finally came out in 1987, ran for, the one series ran, and they actually had plans for a second series or season, and that was around the same time that Filmation actually went out of business or shut down, because they shut down in 1989. So before the other series could be put out, and before the second series of the toys and whatnot could be put out, everything kind of got canceled. So the toy line apparently wasn't selling as well. You know, the 80s were coming to a close. This boys action craze was kind of fading for a little bit. So unfortunately, the series and for both the toy line and the cartoon were not able to continue. But before they did, we did get figures like this. This toy line is an 8-inch figure. 8-inch scale. So you're probably used to like Star Wars and GI Joes. Those figures are about 3 3/4. All right, and then we have like the big 6-inch craze these days, and this is an 8-inch figure, so it's very big. I will try to get as close-ups and do some stuff, but it is hard with a figure of this size. Bravestarr, the main hero, was voiced by, let's put him up right here, Pat Fraley, who you probably most know as Krang from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as well as a ton of other voices. Pat Fraley is legendary in the voice acting business, did so many voices, especially in the 80s. So that is who voiced Marshall Bravestarr, and like I said, he went against Tex Hex. So let's get some close-ups of Mr. Marshall Bravestarr and see what kind of figure we have. As you can see, he stands with no problem. We're going to kind of bring it up and take part by part, and then we'll go through the articulation and see kind of where that goes. Just to give you an idea, though, before we do that, of the scale variations throughout the 80s of different toy lines. You had as tiny as, like little mask figures, and because it was in one of our most recent videos, I still have this guy sitting by. So let me grab Questar from Dino Riders and put him up next to Mr. Marshall Bravestarr. So he goes up to his knee. I mean, that's basically where he's at. He's at his knee. So that tells you the different scales and the different size variation that we had throughout the 80s of our toys. It wasn't all just the cookie cutter 3 3/4 or, the 6-inch, etc. So this guy is like they said in the thing that this one was like a 2-inch figure, I want to say. So 2 all the way up to 8. So let's get a closer look at Marshall Bravestarr. I'm going to start with his head. Alright, so there you have it. A little bit of paint wear and tear you can kind of see on his nose there, under his bottom lip. Better than a lot of them that I saw on eBay, though. So let me see if any of that comes off. Might be able to be cleaned. That hat is a rubbery material. And it does come off. So there you have the hat. Let's just set the figure down for a second. So the hat, there's the front, has kind of the detail around it. A little wear, but not too bad. Probably could be cleaned because, like I said, this is a little flexible. And as you can see here, I don't know if it's going to come up on the camera or not here, but there is an imprint right up there at the very top. And it says 1985 Filmation. Excuse me, 1986 Filmation. I was going to say, if it says 85, it was sitting on the shelf, or sitting in the warehouse for a while before it hit shelves, but it says 1986 Filmation on the hat. Interesting place to put the copyright, the imprint there, so that's kind of cool. That'll give us a chance to look at his head a little bit closer with that hat off. So some minor wear and tear there, but very minimal, really. I'd be interested to see here too if some minor paint specks there. Usually the hair, I'm actually happy that it's only a couple spots, because usually the hair is where we would have some paint missing, especially with a hat that can be taken on and off. So we do see a little of it up on the top, but not too bad. Let's kind of work our way down here. The action, all right, action piece button there. Not too much paint fading. Move our way around to the front. Again, just a few little dirty specks and pieces. Not too bad at all there. I'll look at his hand a little bit. You have the belt. Slight color issue there. Got the gun, a holster there. Does come out. I don't want to take it out right now though. Going down to his leg. His feet. So not too many issues at all there. I like the look of his face, by the way. I like the way they have his eyes and his mouth. Just kind of looking ahead. When you have him set back here, it looks like he's, staring off into the distance, taking something pretty serious, etc. So let's go through the articulation. I'll put his hat back on here. Which, again, that's probably why we have that paint issue with some of the pieces in his hair. But there we go. As far as articulation, there's no waist movement. All right, so the waist does not circle, encircle, anything like that. The head has a interesting articulation there because it's this whole neck piece there. So if I take this closer, you're going to be able to see that he has an ability to kind of look at a certain range because it's this whole piece. All right, so it's not just a head. The neck is part of that. So he can turn it. All right, he can turn. But then he also has this ability to kind of go at an angle in different ways. So that's kind of unique. I haven't seen a lot of figures from that time period that were able to do that. As far as his arm, the shoulder joint does move in a 360 manner, but also his elbow joint does the same. All right. So we can have this guy moving. Actually, so does his hand. So you have his hand turning, his elbow turns, and the shoulder turns. So that is more than most in this time period. Gives you some ways to do some poses. Obviously his other hand's going to do the same thing. This hand is a little bit looser because of this button in the back. Allows him to do like a quick draw with his weapon. All right, and that button still works pretty well. But it does cause the hand, obviously, it's going to be in that position. You're not going to be able to do as much. You can turn the elbow and the hand. Both points of articulation are the same as they were on this hand. But as far as doing too much there, all right, that button's going to control some of that. So there we go. And then as far as the legs go, this moves at the hip around there. The knee does not move forward, but it does move back. So you have a full range of motion there. The foot is just part of that joint. So you have the knee joint movement and the hip, same as this side. So the hip is going to turn a little bit. right? And the knee can go down in that respect. So he could be, if he wanted to be, he could be kneeling, doing something like that, or running, or different poses for sniping somebody out with his gun, things of that nature. So that is very cool. As far as tightness and stuff, I mean, there's a little, I wouldn't even call that loose. I mean, it moves freely, but it doesn't like fall or anything like that. I'm very impressed. The age of the figure, first of all, we're talking about a figure that was made in 1986, right? So 36 years at least old. And just to have those little bit of speckles, some here and there in the paint. We have a little bit of the hair that paint has been chipped off for different things. That one spot on his waist in the rear that has like a little color discoloration or whatever. But we still have a belt. We still have his gun. I believe these figures each came with some like the cartoon's version of gold nuggets or things of that nature, like the treasure or whatever. So obviously that is not present in this figure. I wouldn't expect it to be. So that's kind of the one thing it's missing. I don't know if there's any other accessories. We'll put an image of the package on the screen right now, so you can kind of take a closer look as to how Bravestarr was packaged, and then you can probably see if there's any other accessories that were missing. But we have the one gun, so unless he had a second weapon of some sort, it might even be a complete Bravestarr, so I'll have to look into that a little bit. So this will go perfect with Tex-Hex. This will go perfect with my Heroes and Villains collection. I am very happy. I know it's kind of hard to display here on the camera, guys, because of the 8 inches of action figure that we have here. But there we go. Very easy to pose. Gives you a lot of opportunities to put him in different positions and pose for different types of pictures and scenes and stuff like that. I like the look of his face. I like the outfit, very show accurate. So I'm a big fan of Mr. Marshall Bravestarr from Bravestarr. So I will get out of the way, let you guys take one last look at this incredible retro figure.